Okay, welcome to our last part of political system in Israel. I think I will start a new career as a YouTuber with all the videos I'm uploading. We'll see about it. So I will not present you, I will present you actually all the parties, but the goal is not to get politicians. It actually, the pictures are not so updated to the last election. The point is to show you the differences, the main differences between different types of parties, and we'll see some changes which happened over the years in the political system in Israel. So at first, it used to be the main difference between right and left. You can see in the pictures on the right, you can see David Ben-Gurion, the leader of the Labour Party, the main party, which actually his party is now called the Labour Party. However, he used to be considered the leader of the left. Some people actually doubted. They said the left was not so lefty, but however, he considered to be the leader of what we call today the left. On the left of the picture, you can see Menachem Begin. He was the leader of the right in Israel, the leader of the Likud. And during the first few decades of Israel, from 1948 till 1977, so the prime minister of Israel was always from the left, never from the right. Only in 1977, for the first time, Menachem Begin, after being in the opposition for so long, he was able to beat the left and to become the prime minister of Israel. It's very interesting because today, Menachem Begin's party, Likud, is ruling Israel totally. And there is a long discussion about what happened to the left in Israel. A very common saying is that the left actually ceased to exist in Israel. There are many, many reasons why there is no actual strong left in Israel. And the truth is, most of the parties are trying to avoid identifying themselves totally with the left. Only small parties are still calling themselves left up loud. There are many reasons for it. It can be demography, when the sectors in Israel which traditionally used to follow the left are smaller in numbers, demographically, are smaller than other sectors. It also can be a result of the peace process with the Palestinians, or the lack of the peace process with the Palestinians, since the peace with the Palestinians used to be the main issue which separates left and right. So without any peace process, you cannot have a left in Israel. So the supporters of the right will say, people believe now that the right was right and there is no peace with the Palestinians. That's why the left ceased to exist. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But the truth is, the story of Israel today is not between the right and the left. The main motto of the white and blue party, which is Benny Gantz's party, you can see today the old party, the Likud, which is an old party. It used to have a different name, but in a different name, it used to exist for a very long time. And there are new parties like the white and blue and other parties, which every time we have a new party in the election. One of the mottos of white and blue was, there is no right, there is no left, it's only us, the center of Israel. And in a way, they try to avoid calling themselves left, so they can also encourage people from the right to support them. However, this is I think the new separation. If it's not a story between left and right, so today I think the main story is between the old parties, mainly the Likud, which is one of the very few parties which still exist after a very long time, and the new parties which are keep changing and adjusting themselves to the new trend. So now it's blue and white. Yair Lapid used to be the leader of a party, it still exists, which called Yesh Atid, there is a future, which they used to be the new party. And every once in a while, if we have election, and we will have very soon, I can guarantee you we will have another new party which will try to encourage the people to join them. People like to believe in a better future. People like to have faith that the future will be better. So a new party, a new face, a new superstar which will come and join the politics is always something which some people like to follow, like to vote to these kind of parties. So I think the story of today's election of the past decades in Israel are the old parties versus the new parties. Another way to define different parties are sectorial parties and wide parties. So this is one example you can see on the right. This is a Haredi party, meaning it's a party which represents only a specific sector, and they are kind of stable in their size because only people, mainly people from this sector, will vote for them. On the other hand, the people of this sector, the Ashkenazi Haredim, they will only vote for this party. Most of the people in this sector will vote for this party. We have more than few actually parties which represent specific sector. The Likud party and also blue and white in the picture you see here are parties which are claiming for leadership, and they're trying to represent wide sectors and not only one specific sector. So you will find in their list of candidates, they will have different faces, different people, different ages, different sectors, different colors. So they are trying to represent as much and as wide spectrum of people as they can, so more people will vote for them. I should remind ourselves again that the people are voting for the party. So you put one ballot, you put one vote for your party, and the number you can see here, many faces, but only the people, like if the party will get 30 seats in the Knesset, so the first 30 in the list will get into the Knesset. So each party will present you the list of candidates and you will vote for the party. And the party wish to have as many seats in the Knesset as they can, so they can have more power and they will have more members of the Knesset from their list. You can also speak about religious parties. There are different types of religious parties. I showed you before the Haredi Ashkenazi religious party. You can see here on the right, Shas, the Sephardic Haredi party, and also Yamina, which kind of the religious, modern Orthodox or religious Zionist party. We can also speak about parties which are team parties, like the Likud or the parties I showed you before, which you will have a very powerful leader, like Benjamin Netanyahu in this case, but the others in the list are also kind of powerful leaders. Each one is representing a different sector within this wide party. However, we have some parties like Avigdor Lieberman in the center, which in his party, no one knows who is in his list, and no one actually votes for the party. People vote for Lieberman. You can see it in the way they advertise themselves. Many times you will see a team party will advertise different faces, different people, the team together, while a party which is a superstar party, they will advertise only the leader. So Avigdor Lieberman was one example. The truth is, I brought the Likud as an example for a team party, but actually in the past few rounds of elections, so the Likud became Benjamin Netanyahu, and he became the main figure, the face of the Likud, and they actually became also a superstar party. Some people are very much against this change in the Likud. Another difference, a very important one, is between democratic and non-democratic parties. I will explain it to you. So in the center, you can see Yair Lapid, who claimed to be trying to be the next prime minister, maybe to replace Benjamin Netanyahu. And he is leading a party, which in his party, it's a non-democratic party, meaning he is the leader and he chooses who will be in the party, who will be in the list without any internal election. In the Likud party, for example, it's one of the very few parties which still have a system, a democratic system of internal election. So the members of the Likud party, not the member of the Knesset, but any citizen in Israel can join the Likud, can pay the taxes, the fees you need to pay every year. And then people who are identifying themselves with the Likud can vote and choose who will be in the list of the Likud. So the democratic parties will have an internal election. It's a big carnival of democracy and people coming and voting. Some people criticize this process because they say election is always ugly and internal election is even more ugly than ever. However, I think on the other hand, it's become a democratic process always make people to support the party. So if you have the ability to affect and to influence who will be in the list, it's more reasonable that you would like to vote to this party. So the Likud party is an example for a democratic party, Yair Lapid is an example for a non-democratic party. You can also see parties which are joint parties, meaning these are actually a combination of different parties. You can see on the left the Joint Arab List, which is actually a combination of 3 different Arabic parties which used to run separately. Now they join forces together. On the right, you can see what was left from the left in Israel, 3 different parties which joined together to run under one name. The main reason why different parties are joining forces together is because the raising of the threshold. We mentioned before that the threshold, the electoral threshold, which is the minimum percentage of votes you need to get in order to get inside the Knesset, is getting higher and higher. And as we said, the higher the threshold is, the less parties are in the Knesset. So small parties which were afraid they will not be able to work together and to pass a threshold, so they decided to work together to join forces and to run under one name and one party, so they will be able to pass the threshold and get inside the Knesset. I will skip this idea and I will skip the advertising of the last election. Just one thought to have in mind before we conclude. I will ask you in the assignment to think about your own system in your own country and what are the differences and how the parties are being elected and what are the differences between the parties in your country. I think it may sound and maybe look very weird, especially for the Americans among you, because you're used to a system with 2 main parties. We should remember that the history of Israel started with the Zionist Congress. And in many ways, the system we have now in Israel, it's different, but it's still very similar. The basic structure is still very similar to the first Zionist Congress. In the Zionist Congress, the idea was to try to recruit and to engage as many Jewish people, Jewish communities around the world to join the new Zionist Congress. So the system was that every society, every community all around the world were able to send people to represent them in the Zionist Congress, depending on the size of the community. And that was the system, that was the way the Zionist Congress was working. I think the same is still happening in Israel. One of the reasons I think we have a very high percentage of people who actually vote in the election in Israel, even though we have too often we have election in Israel, people are still voting more than most of the Western countries. And I think one of the reasons is the system we have. We have many parties, so each person in each sector can feel close enough to his own party. Each sector or small, tiny sector will have its own party. So the people feel close, feel identified with the party, and then will actually go and vote. So I think it still exists in Israel with the diverse society we have in Israel with different sectors, different sects, different groups and subgroups in Israel. We have a diverse society. So we need the system, the political system to be diverse as well, and to have more than one, more than 2, more than few parties, so people can feel the parties are representing them, and at the end they will go and vote and participate in the democratic game. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the class. You have one last question to answer. See you on Wednesday.